Chapter 5. The Haberdash Gardens were at war. Trees battled under the weight of creepers, and ivy strangled the roses. The weeds had almost succeeded in reclaiming what was rightfully theirs. Imogen had to walk quickly to keep up with the moth. She wanted it to stop on something so she could get another close look. A twig snapped. Imogen turned on her heel, but there was no one behind her. The moth flew on, and Imogen followed. Tendrils threw themselves kamikaze-style across her path. She turned right, and there was a river. Fat frogs lurked among the bulrushes. In her haste, Imogen tottered too close to the water. A frog belched, hopping aside just before her heel plunged into the spongy earth. Cold water seeped in through her shoe, but there was no time to stop. The moth was getting away. Imogen hurried along the river bank, and the moth flew across the water. "I can't follow you there," she said, looking around for a bridge. But in this place, where everything was falling apart, things also fell into place. A dead tree lay across the river. Imogen climbed up the roots and spread her arms out wide, placing her left foot on the trunk, then her right foot. Woodlice ran for cover as she disturbed the rotten paradise. She made her way across the dead tree slowly, hardly daring to breathe in case it affected her balance. The last part of the tree was slippery, so Imogen lowered herself onto her belly. She wriggled forward, rubbing dirt into her top. When the trunk was above earth instead of water, Imogen rolled off and landed on her feet. She smiled, pleased with herself, and continued on her way. The plants on this side of the river had won the war against the gardeners. They had no interest in looking how people wanted them to look. Oversized shrubs had thorny throats. Wayward flowers bobbed their heads as Imogen swiped by, and the further she went into the Haberdash Gardens, the more she got the feeling that she wasn't welcome. She heard a noise from somewhere behind, like the patter of feet. She turned. There was no one there. Imogen did think about going back to the tea rooms, but she was sure that the moth was trying to show her something, and she wanted to see what it was. A large drop of water landed on her forehead, and she glanced up at the sky. Another drop splashed on her cheek, and then the rain poured down. The moth flew faster. Imogen ran to keep up. Again, there was a sound behind her, but she couldn't turn back. She wouldn't turn back. She sprinted as fast as she could. Mud splattered up her legs. The shadow moth led Imogen to an enormous tree. The highest branches seemed to touch the clouds, and under the jabbering of the rain, Imogen was sure she could hear roots drawing up water from the depths of the earth. She stepped under the tree's canopy and put her hand on the rough trunk. The moth landed next to her fingers and moved its antennae in circles. In this light, it looked more gray than silver, camouflaged against the bark. Imogen couldn't wait to tell Mary what she'd found. The biggest tree in the world. Mary would be amazed, and perhaps a little bit jealous. The moth crawled away from Imogen's hand, and she followed its progress. Soon, it wasn't walking on gnarled bark, but smooth wood. Imogen ran her finger over this new texture. She knew what it was. She stepped back a few paces. Yes, it was as she'd thought. There was a door in the tree.